You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance, overflowing today with one of the more remarkable millennial entrepreneurs and visionaries that you'll ever have the opportunity to listen to and to be transformed by his insights. So get ready, because you have tuned in consciously and conscientiously to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And of course, you've tuned in for one reason and one reason only, and it's the best reason, because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U-E-W-E. And that's great, because when you care the most about you, you can become the best you possible. Therefore, you can build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And that's the reason to do this. Now, you are joined at this very moment, by the way, by 348,613 people around the world. And I am deeply, deeply honored that you continue to bring your friends and your family to listen from all over the world, because there's always another 20, 30, 40,000 people. So God willing, by the time we bring on our amazing guest, Mo, there'll be over 360,000 people every week coming and listening to the show, because you know that on this show, we work with the three fundamentals of life. And when you follow these three fundamentals, the result is you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Happier, healthier, and wealthier. The three fundamentals, of course, are number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. In this case, a good number two. You go MAD. Now, MAD is a great acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Everyday words, and a simple example, www. Right now, if you ask anybody, what is the internet? Because that's what this is being carried over. You're watching or you're listening over the internet worldwide. People from all over are watching and listening, from China, from India, from Latin America, North America, all over the world. Ask anybody, what does WW stand for? And very much has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. What a wonderful world, WWW. Now, whenever you hear the opening bars, of course, of that song, What a Wonderful World, thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo for enabling it to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. What do you do right away when you hear the opening bars? You smile. You can't help it. Now, smile is one of the most powerful words you can ever integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life, and make you happier, healthier, wealthier. Because SMILE is a great acronym that stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, invariably, when I speak to groups of people, just before the pandemic, the group I was speaking to was 5,200 people. No mask, no panic, no nothing before the pandemic. God willing, will all go away pretty soon. Won't even remember. Just that's a distant memory. When I was speaking to people raising their hand, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours, I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to drink. You have food to eat. You have a place to sleep. You have family, your friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the simple proof? Simple as proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching and listening, you didn't. You have an obligation now to live exuberantly. So imagine the following. Standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that night being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. That's right. Not from an automobile accident, not a spinal injury, a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me a quadriplegic. Nothing in my body moved, completely, totally paralyzed. 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed of my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. I still cannot walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. And it's all because of one word: smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. But I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? And I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes. But what was she doing? She's creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is an amazing, wonderful acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. The ability to use your mind. You have a brain that has 100+ billion brain cells and more than 120 trillion synapses connecting them all. And they're there for more than deciding what kind of latte you want this morning. The ability to use neuro-linguistic programming and to choose how you wish to live. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. The 6 most important words you'll ever integrate. Now, before we bring on Amazing Mo, I want to warn everybody in advance, as I do all the time, and our special guest, that I do use a lot of 4-letter words, and I even use the 4-letter FU where I do it because it's fun and the shock value. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, play, pray, swim, snow, rock. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, right away, people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, you have a twinkle in your eye, a smile on your face. Remember that stands for. Point your fingers at F-U, everybody. Remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, where'd you get that? Say, I listen to The Joy of Living. And Barry Shaw wants to teach the world how to say F-U, capital N, capital N. So before we bring on Mo, I'm just going to urge everybody to learn how to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now for the rest of your life. Because you use these 2 most powerful words, you're going to upgrade your life, the life of your family, your friends, and all living beings on the planet. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama is quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. As he says, it's always possible. Kind, imagine this. Walking to your coffee shop, no mask, the thing is over, and you sit down, you order a fancy latte, and somebody brings it to you, you say, thank you. You walk into the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, and you sit down. A few minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. You go to the counter, they say, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're so busy, we'll bring it to you. You sit down, a couple of minutes go by, somebody brings it, you still say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop and it's raining out. Somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're stuck in traffic, you're late for an appointment, and somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kind is a fabulous word that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that I would like to share with you that inspires noble deeds more than the amazing, the wonderful, the inimitable Mo Rock. Mo, please say hello to 366,828 people around the world.
Well, wow. Thank you so much for that, Barry. I'm just so excited, so pumped up to spend some time with you. Every chance that I have to have a conversation with you, I always leave our conversations more enlightened, more inspired, just in the spirit of full transparency. I do have that opportunity once in a while to speak with you off the air, which does my heart glad. And of course, you're talking about the words of the Dalai Lama. And it reminded me of this beautiful card that I have, which says, "Be kind always." And so I'm excited, Barry, to spend some time speaking with you. I'm excited for the folks watching at home. And the folks watching this all around the world already know what to expect from the Barry Shore program, because you always leave something for people to make their day better, therefore make their life better. So I'm excited to spend some time with you today, Barry. Thank you so much for doing this.
And back at you, kid. By the way, when was the last time somebody said F you to you and you laughed?
About 3 days ago when I cut someone off on the 5, but besides that situation, it happened.
That was F-U, capital N, capital N. He did
that probably the last time I spoke with you.
So I urged and pleaded with Mo to spend time with us together today, because he is the embodiment of what's happening in the United States of America, and it's spreading worldwide, which is the ability to work a plan and bring it to fruition through action. You see, the key of life is everybody has a lot of good ideas. We know this, Mo, right? But the ability to make an action real by make a plan real by taking action is really the key. And I want to focus on 3 things that we have talked about in the past and mentioned today. We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to speak about spirituality, and we're going to talk about love and gratitude. So let's start right away with leadership. I'm going to tell you, if I started telling all the people everything about you, it would take the rest of the hour. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to suffice to say 3 things. Number 1, you were deeply involved, highly successful in the entertainment business in the Los Angeles area. And if there's any place where entertainment rules, it's Los Angeles. Maybe New York also, but Los Angeles. That's number 1. Number 2, what you did is you were able to find a gem, a large 100+ carat diamond that you were able to find, polish, and bring to bear by buying up the LA Tribune. So I want to talk about those 2 things, your transition from entertainment and now the real entertainment of bringing the LA Tribune, which began in 1886, everybody, and bringing it to the world in a new format so that it sparkles, it glistens, it glows, and people are so attracted to it that they want to learn more about it. So please, Mo, tell us more about you and the LA Tribune.
Well, thank you so much for that, Barry. And to start off with, you make such a profound, powerful, important point that we can't gloss over. And that's the distinction between thinking and having a good idea and execution. There are a lot of smart people on the face of this planet. There are a whole host and a whole myriad of people much smarter than I am. And it's very fascinating, Barry, because every time something like, for instance, I'll use the example of Uber. Every time an Uber comes into fruition, all you got to do is sit at a Starbucks in Silicon Valley and you'll eavesdrop and hear 9 people say, I had this idea for Uber. It was my idea. I thought about it way back in the day that you could, grab your phone, push a button, and a taxi cab driver will come pick you up. You go to Los Angeles, eavesdrop, you hear the same thing everywhere. Ideas are good. You have to have good ideas, but they're very, very, very common. Good ideas are futile. The market does not respond to your brilliant idea, right? This is something that so many people have a misunderstanding. People think just because they have a good idea, they're somehow entitled to financial success. They're entitled to an investor writing them a check. They're entitled to a share of the market because their idea is so brilliant. There are a lot of brilliant ideas. It's the execution. As you said, and most of the great ideas, most of the great successes are not really predicated on amazing ideas. Most of the great successes are predicated on systems. Most of the great ideas are just because people are able to do something simple in a consistent way. And I think just one final point, one final thought before we move forward is there are 2 books that I know a lot of folks in your audience would appreciate, would know, 2 authors that I know a lot of people in your audience, in your space would know. And of course, one is Napoleon Hill and one is W. Clement Stone. Now, what's interesting about Napoleon Hill. And what's interesting about W. Clement Stone is everyone knows about Think and Grow Rich. Everyone knows about Napoleon Hill. And not as many people know about W. Clement Stone. But what's interesting is Napoleon Hill was, according to some, essentially financially broke at one point in his life. And it was actually W. Clement Stone in the latter years that hired him as a sales trainer and put Napoleon Hill back into the financial status that he once enjoyed earlier in his career. Now, one would ask the question, why is it that W. Clement Stone, who was inspired by Napoleon Hill, W. Clement Stone, who became very, 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 very rich and very, very wealthy, using Napoleon Hill's principles that he wrote about, using Napoleon Hill's ideas, why is it that he actually ended up more financially successful over the course of their lifetime than Napoleon Hill? And I think the answer actually lies in the title of the respective books. If you look at Think and Grow Rich, and if you look at The Success System That Never Fails, which is a book that W. Clement Stone wrote, the word system being the key word and being the key distinction of the two. And so while we all have great ideas, while we all have, fascinating coffee shop talk, unless you have a system put in place, it does not matter. The marketplace will not respond to you, right? And so this is something that is very difficult for a lot of people to grasp, Barry, because most entrepreneurs are so attached to their own brilliance, to their own ideas, that they somehow are under the assumption that because they're an intelligent person, like I said, they're entitled to success. That's not how it works. And so I highly recommend folks, because I know you've had, Jack Canfield has worked with you, and Mark Victor Hansen has been on your show, and every thought leader that you could think of has been on your show. And I know your audience is global, and your audience is by and large the self-help personal development audience. So I know that they know these names. Read Think and Grow Rich, and then read The Success System That Never Fails side by side, one after the one, and you'll see the difference in the two. So again, and this does go to the point of leadership. I think that leadership is understanding distinctions, getting out of your own head, not being focused on your own passions all the time. We hear so much, follow your passion, be passionate, your passion, like a lot of times people interview successful people and ask them, CEOs, what's the secret to success? It's passion. That's a bullshit answer, because I'm passionate about drinking micheladas. I love drinking micheladas. I'm passionate about spending time, around beautiful people, people that I love and care about, having a good time. I'm passionate about those things. I'm passionate about watching Minnesota Timberwolves, my favorite basketball team. I love watching them. Barry, believe it or not, I have yet to find anybody that's going to pay me to watch me do any of those things. I have tried so hard for somebody to pay me money to watch me drink a michelada, to watch me watch a basketball game. I'm still looking. I'm passionate about those things, right? I'm very passionate about those things, but yet they do not help me financially. And so these childish ideas that are floating around, people need to get over these childish ideas, okay? Of just be passionate about what you want to do, just have the right thinking. That's only a very small part of it. Now, can being passionate about what you do help? Yes, of course, but it's not the end all be all. Being passionate about what you do can help to an extent, because if you actually look at the root word of passion, it actually comes from the word suffering. And so when people are saying, follow your passion, what they're saying is follow your suffering. And so being an entrepreneur is hard. You will suffer, right? Being a business owner is hard. You will suffer. Yet, if you are passionate, you will follow your suffering. You're not going to back down from it, because you're going to keep going through the suffering. So to that extent, it's useful, but it's not the end all be all. And so a lot of these folks that simply give 3-word, 4-word answers to these kind of questions and say, just follow your passion, it's almost like they have a secret sauce they don't want to share about their own journey, their own story. So they give some answer like that. I don't like that. I think that everyone should be true to who they are individually, publicly, privately, and share the wealth of wisdom if you've come across something. So that's my stance on leadership. And of course, what we're doing with the LA Tribune, my team, myself, and a lot of folks behind the scenes that are involved with it. It's not just me, it's a team effort. We're really redefining news, Barry. And you have also been, just in the spirit of full transparency, you've been a large part of the LA Tribune, both behind the scenes and in front of the camera. You are on our advisory board, and we thank you for that. And so, and going back to the point of leadership, surround yourself with quality people. Surround yourself with the Barry Shores of the world. Appreciate the Barry Shores of the world. Know the value that they have. Have the ability, the talent, and the depth. If I'm talented at anything, Barry, it's having the depth of vision to appreciate the right people. That's really the only thing that I'm gifted at, right?
Right.
And so, with being said, what we're doing with the LA Tribune is we're redefining news. We no longer want news to be something that's disempowerment. We want people to realize that news can be empowerment. And so we don't do fear mongering. We do not have the philosophy of if it bleeds, it leads. We have the philosophy of what can we do to empower people. We also happen to be the only national brand that covers the personal development industry. We're the only national brand that covers all of these incredible thought leaders and authors and speakers that by and large get ignored by the rest of mainstream media. And so we not only do a lot of traditional things with a empowerment slant, we also cover a world that no other mainstream national news brand does. And so I'm very proud of the work that the team is doing, the different divisions that are going on. And I'm just one, small part of it, but it's very exciting work that we're doing there. And so hopefully the audience gathered something from that long-winded answer, and hopefully they got some value to take home.
So several things to unpack here because it was long, but not long-winded. It was spot on. I want to mention to people three things. Number one, everything that you heard from Mo, first of all, is true. That's beside the point, because he won't speak unless it's based foundationally on truth. Everything you want to know about Mo and the LA Tribune and things that are happening, just go to my website, barryshore.com. You don't have to write anything down. Just lean in and let this transformational being come through you and enable you to be empowered, as he said. Just go to barryshore.com. All the information about Mo, the LA Tribune will be there. That's number one. Number two is what Mo is mentioning to you about passion is so vital. Now, vital, of course, means life-giving. It is vital. He's quite correct. You're passionate about X, Y, Z. Great. Does that enable you to bring more benefit to the world, which means will that enable you to be financially successful? Because only when you are financially successful can you be of greater benefit to other people. We love people who are selfish in the most positive, purposeful, powerful way. Because if you're not considering that, you're not really there to serve. We are servants, Mo and I. That's really why you tuned in. See, the show's not about Mo Rock. It's not a show about Barry Shore, even though we're great guys. And we know a lot. It's really about you, YOU, you becoming happier, healthier, and wealthy. You see, heard from him. The other thing is I mentioned, you said in the beginning the words, and they were so spot on. Entitled. People think they're entitled to something. That is truly the kiss of death.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you're entitled, I beg you, I plead with you, and then I'll kick you.
Yeah.
To put it aside and say, I am here to be a servant and to work hard and smart. So the hard and smart is the combination of what Mo just taught us about Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. One without the other would not have made history. You see, history was made because of ideas that were implemented. And that's what Mo is doing. The LA Tribune is a national brand. It is also becoming rapidly an international brand because it's the Los Angeles Tribune. Los Angeles is a city that means much to many people in many different ways. And the point is, I'm going to ask now, Mo, before we go to our short break in a few minutes, let's delve in a little bit more about LA Tribune and give some of the backstory of where it began, how it began, and where it is today as the preeminent voice in the self-development world.
Well, thank you for that, Barry. And of course, the Los Angeles Tribune, the name has a history that stems from 1886. In fact, I have a copy of 1886 edition right here framed. And so with that being said, we do have over 100 years of name recognition. And it's had a lot of different turns over the course of the different leadership that have carried the mantle of that name. My team and I we look at ourselves more like stewards of that name. And so, I feel more like a steward than anything else. And so our responsibility, I believe, is very timely as well, because not only are we one of the few national brands compared to a lot of the other national brands out there, our conglomerate is relatively small. We do have different divisions. We do have other companies and other subsets, and there are a lot of strategic partners that we work with. But we're not connected to a Viacom. We're not connected to a Clear Channel. We still have our independent voice. We still can make our own decisions on a local level, and that gives us a lot more freedom, because we don't have bureaucracy that we have to deal with, corporate bureaucracy, and that's something that is one of my allergies. I have quite a few allergies. They're not seasonal, they're annual. One of them is corporate bureaucracies. Another one is entitlement, as you spoke of. Whenever I deal with entitlement energy, I start sneezing, and next thing you know, whoever's bringing that entitlement energy, we're just not clicking. Slowly over time, we just kind of drift away. Whether it's an employee, a strategic partner, a friend, I just don't do well with entitlement energy. I think that we live in a very fascinating time in which entitlement is being encouraged, as opposed to entitlement being discouraged. Going back to the earlier conversation of empowerment versus disempowerment, I have yet to find somebody that has a successful and fulfilling and happy life that is constantly entitled, right? Even if someone has a decent external life, but they feel entitled to it, either something happens and the external life crumbles, or even if they're able to maintain that facade, internally they're miserable. And so you mentioned gratitude, which is something I'm very big on. I look at gratitude as sort of the medicine, one of the medicines to entitlement. And so it's one medicine, but another medicine to entitlement or therapy for entitlement are certain philosophies. I don't agree with everything that she wrote, but it's not a black and white life. We can take good things from certain folks and leave the things we disagree with. But Ayn Rand, for example, has certain ideas that I agree with. Certain ideas I strongly disagree with. But, reading Ayn Rand is something that would help someone who feels entitled, right?
Absolutely correct.
And so another person, of course, Milton is on that list. Ayn Rand is on that list. And you don't have to agree with everything that these folks are saying. I don't.
Matter of fact, let me put you on pause for a moment, because here is where Mo becomes of great benefit to you watching and listening. The ability, first of all, to read, not just watch videos, to read is a remarkably empowering and enlightening skill. The ability to, once you begin reading, to begin to think, and to see that the ideas being put forth did not come down from on high, from a mountain, and therefore must be believed 100% everything. The ability to think through and to discern, to becoming a discriminating person. See, discrimination has a bad name in today's world. Oh, I don't discriminate. Well, if you don't, then you become a fool. We're not here for people to become fooled. We're here for people to become full. Not an F-O-O-L, but F-U-L-L. We want people to become full in their lives. Therefore, thinking and discriminating amongst different ideas makes the difference between great success and failure. There's a great line that I was taught in my 8th grade class by my math teacher. There are many reasons for failure, but no excuse. There's no excuse for that. If you don't read, it's the same as if you can't read. So Mo is bringing to us some very amazing issues. By the way, again, go to barryshore.com because he's talking about names that you may or may not be familiar with. And it's really important to begin to learn these names and to read some of them. So before we go back in and go deep into some of the other medicines that you're going to help us with, so we get rid of the entitlement curse, we're going to go ahead. Thank God we have sponsors that love us and that really want to share their ideas with the world. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away because Mo does rock. Hi, everybody. Barry Shore here, the ambassador of joy. We've entered into the fall season, and fall means coming up to winter, holidays, all kinds of stuff. Not just stuff, stress, S-T-R-E-S-S. I've spoken about stress many times on the show, and with stress coming on with the holiday season, everybody wants to be happy and such, but everybody knows what's going on. I want to talk to you about something really important for your benefit. It's called Talkspace, Talkspace, Talkspace.com. This is an online therapy program, show, website, and it's available for you. It is so important for you to be involved. You all know my story. Standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, in the evening, quadriplegic. Okay, nobody has to go through something that drastic to know that speaking to somebody, a professional, licensed therapist, can be of benefit. I know it's true. It helped me. It can help you. This is so easy to do. You are talking about secure, professional process. It's the number one online therapy platform in the country. It works around your schedule, your convenience. I urge you, please match yourself with a licensed therapist. Go to Talkspace.com, Talkspace, Talkspace.com. Get $100 off your first month with the promo code Barry, Barry. Go to Talkspace.com, put in the promo code Barry, Barry, and you'll get $100 off your first month. Please do it. You'll thank me. Best wishes. Bye now. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. HonestPets.co. Well, you found it. HonestPets.co. Not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all-natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co. honestpets.co. Do it now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good in the form of a two-legged being named Mo Rock, and he is rocking our world because he is helping us understand that an entitlement mindset is destructive of you. Remember, you're tuned in because you want to be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Follow the 3 fundamentals of life. So let's take a look at one person right now, and then we're going to ask you, Mo, to comment on the idea of the spiritual aspect of life and making that happen so that all parts of life are connected. Elon Musk, the richest man on planet Earth today, maybe in the history of the world. Let's take a look at 3 things that he said recently that I heard. We was talking man on man, he and I. And he said, look, guess what he did? He reinvented the electric car. The electric car preceded the internal combustion engine. It was around the time, actually, just a little bit after the LA Tribune was first started in 1886. It was just about 10 years after that. The electric car was in existence, and then internal combustion engine came along, and then it overpowered it. But Elon Musk said, I just reinvented it. But what did he do? He didn't just have the idea. This is where Mo has rocked our world. He built the systems to deliver the electric car, but not just an electric car, the most advanced, computerized. It couldn't happen unless he put together all of the pieces of the new world that was internet connected, that was utilizing the latest software and making its understanding. You weren't driving a car, that it was literally, you were sitting inside of a computer, and that was what was transporting. He was in the transportation business, not in the automobile business. And he became, thank God, the richest man in the world. And he is the man who has paid more taxes in 1 year than all of people earning $50,000 or less in the past 50 years. You hear that? And it's because he put together, like Mo said, a team. Team stands for together, everyone achieves miracles. But they're not miracles in the sense that when you work with the system. So let's talk about leadership is an outside process, but it's built from the inside out, in my humble opinion, Mo. And that is where you shine in the spiritual aspect of life. You were talking about Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is both a practical being and a spiritual being. So let's talk about spirituality and how that blends in your life. And might even want to bring in Dennis Waitley as an example.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for that. And just to touch base on what you're saying about Elon, I'm a fan of Elon Musk and his work. I happen to drive a Tesla. Here's my keys right here. And I also happen to own stock in the company. And so I believe...
I just want to interrupt for one moment. Only because I'm careful with words. Doesn't it you happen to own a Tesla and you happen to own stock? You chose to buy a Tesla. You chose to invest your hard-earned money. That is the difference between Mo with an idea. Hey, I happen to have entitled. No, he made a decision and he stuck to it. And look at the results. Please.
Thank you for that, Barry. And, just to continue with the conversation, when I say I have a Tesla, by the way, I have a Tesla, not a Model 3. I want to just throw that out there. With that being said, I do believe that certainly Elon is an example of what happens when you don't limit yourself with limiting beliefs, right? If Elon Musk had the limiting belief that you cannot simultaneously have a company that goes to outer space, simultaneously have a company that is in the solar space, and consequently also simultaneously have a company that revolutionizes automotive. If you have that limiting belief, it's going to be impossible to do that. This is why people that come to me and try to instill limiting beliefs in me, I erase them quite quickly, right? I don't have limiting beliefs, right? And I say that with humility, not because there's anything special about me compared to anyone else. It's just a choice, going back to what you just said. So I appreciate you making that distinction, because now we're having a breakthrough here. It's a simple choice. And so if you're watching this, what choices are you making with how you see yourself, right? Since we're talking a lot about books and I see so many books behind you, I'm willing to bet that one of the books behind you is probably Psycho-Cybernetics, a book that I know you're very familiar with.
Right.
And so with that being said, that's a fantastic place to start. If somebody is listening to what I'm saying and thinking, well, gosh, Elon Musk doesn't have these problems or these limiting beliefs, where do I begin? I suggest by starting with the work of Psycho-Cybernetics, a very powerful piece of work. Of course, you're familiar with it. For those that may not be familiar with it, delve into it. I'm not going to talk about it here because I know we don't have a lot of time here, but how we see ourselves, how we visualize our avatar, is so damn important, Barry, and something that so few people really take time to appreciate and understand.
Mhm.
And even though it's extremely important, and even though it's easy and important, not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people take time to think about, hey, how do I think about myself? How do I feel about myself? Right? And it's not like a narcissistic thing. This is where some people get caught up, right? This is why it's important to be clear with language. It's not about being obsessed with yourself or loving the image of yourself. No, it's about appreciating your own journey, appreciating the value that you provide for others, and the interconnectedness that we have with not just other human beings, but all sentient beings, right? And so, and what we're talking right now is a spiritual conversation. We are now talking spirituality, even though some people may not perceive it that way. And just to clarify my personal religion, because there's some people that are, over the course of my journey, a lot of people are kind of confused. Some people think I might be Jewish because I work very closely with the Jewish community. In fact, in a few weeks, I'm going to be visiting a friend of mine in Beverly Hills who runs a synagogue. Some people think I'm Christian because I like to cite the Bible. A lot of people think I'm Muslim because I happen to have a Middle Eastern background. Well, let me just share for whoever's interested what my religion is. I'm not Christian, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Muslim. Even though a lot of people think I'm Muslim, I'm not Muslim. What I am is I'm Muslim, okay? I've created my own religion, and as a Muslim, okay, my religion is very simple. I don't convert anybody. There's no one else that can be a Muslim. I don't ask anyone else what their religion is. I don't care. I don't want them to care about what my religion is. Okay, as a Muslim, there's only one Muslim on the planet. My relationship with my creator is my business, my responsibility, no one else's. And that's what I am, right? And so I think that, in my opinion, if other people were Muslims and they just minded their own business, right, the world would be a quite different place, and our history would be quite different. I believe in the religion of loving one another, appreciating one another, and putting ourselves in the shoes of one another.
So let's use one word that you mentioned a couple of times, and I think it goes to the foundational aspects of Mosism, and that is responsibility.
Yeah.
The ability to accept responsibility for the choices that you have made or the decisions you've not made. You chose not to choose, that's up to you. But once you begin to accept responsibility, recognize that there are no excuses of failure, and you cannot excuse yourself into success. But by using responsibility and examining your own avatar and asking the three questions. First of all, who am I? Now, why am I here? And now that I know both of those things, what am I supposed to do? See, Mo is so far advanced, and I say with respect and love, advanced in the sense that he has asked the questions and is giving answers to himself. He's not preaching on the mountain saying, this is what you need to do. This is what you, meaning Mo, need to do. Now, you watching, you want to do these things because when you ask those three questions, who am I? Why am I here? Now, what do I do? Guess what happens? You release the energy. You now have no limits. You are that being that everybody says, wow. Wow stands for, in Mo world, words of wisdom. Words of wonder. So go to the barryshore.com website. It's all going to be there about Mo. So let's now go and dive a little deeper into what I call the law of attraction. Now, law, by the way, when people hear the word law, they somehow they feel limiting and they think of the police and things like that. But in our world, of course, law stands for love and wisdom. That's the real law of life, love and wisdom. And it's guided by the two principles of love and gratitude. So let's delve deeply into gratitude, because in my humble opinion, Mo, that is what animates you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, and it is a very big part of what I stand for. Um, and I know we have limited time, but just to touch base a little bit with some of the ideas that you shared there before I really do a deep dive in gratitude with you here. Um, Final thoughts on spirituality. The one red flag that I have is when people say that they have the answer, right? I've come across quite a few people, Barry, that claim that they have not a answer that works for them, but the answer. Now, this to me it comes from someone. If we want to, I'm not a psychologist, but you can read about the God complex and how people think that they have the answer. I stay away from folks that say, I have the answer, I have the truth. You don't, buddy. It's a very delusional way to look at the world. For me, the closest way I could explain the truth is the opening of the Tao Te Ching. The Tao that can be spoken of is not the eternal Tao, right? And I had a lovely conversation with Joe Vitale. Speaking of the law of attraction, I've had a chance to speak with Joe Vitale several times now on the air, and we spent several hours together in conversation. And I recommend people look at those conversations. Some people have said that it was the most powerful conversation that they've ever heard from Joe Vitale, where him and I were talking about this, and he referred to the universe as the great mystery. The great mystery. I love that. I resonate with that. Because no one's saying we have the answer, we have the secret sauce. Follow me, and I can show you the way. I don't like those things. I'm another one of my allergies. Now, talking about gratitude. You mentioned Dennis Waitley. I am writing a book with Dennis Waitley, Adora Evans, myself, and Dennis Waitley with some other co-authors. We're coming together and writing a book coming out next year called The New Way of Winning, which I'm so excited about because Dennis Waitley is a legend who worked, of course, with Earl Nightingale. And so to be able to write a book with somebody and to work with somebody that worked with Earl Nightingale and to be officially part of that history, because once we publish that book and I become a co-author with Dennis Waitley, who worked with Earl Nightingale, I'm officially connected to that lineage, which is just amazing to me to even conceptualize, right? That somehow that history is now part of my history and vice versa. So that is something I'm eternally grateful for. But my contribution in that book is PPG, the practical power of gratitude. You see, I have done a lot of research on gratitude, and I have come up with a lot of data and a lot of numbers and charts and things that folks that tend to be stuck on the left side of their brain, they would appreciate. Because a lot of creative folks like myself, we have our language, we have our way that we look at the world. But it's not about just reaching out to people that see the same things I see, that see the world in the same colors that I see. It's about also expressing ourselves to the folks that see the world differently. And so, when I talk about gratitude, I'm talking about research. I'm talking about data. I'm talking about citing sources. I'm talking about research from Harvard University. And I'm showing people the practical power of gratitude, not the philosophical power of gratitude, not the theory of gratitude, but I'm actually showing people proven methodologies from history of how things changed in business for the bottom line of business, how P&L sheets were different because they applied gratitude, how turnover was reduced in companies because they started practicing gratitude with their employees, how vendors did not change to different people. I could go on and on and on. And so for me, gratitude, Barry, is spiritual and practical. And those two things should always be, in my opinion, connected. Because if there's a tree with a fruit, but we can't pick that fruit and eat it, of what good is that tree? Of what good is that fruit? And so when we talk spirituality, how can we apply these things to our lives in the three-dimensional realm? And there's so many examples of the power of spirituality, you being one of them. How many folks without spirituality, without gratitude, without the right mindset would have not been able to survive your journey? They would have gone crazy. They would have felt victimized. They would have hated the world. And I'm sure everyone, yourself included, has gone through every emotion when you go through the certain things like the stuff that you've gone through, but you came out the other end being a force for good because you understand spirituality, you have gratitude. So when we look at historical examples, Barry Shore is a historical example right here. This is a historical example right in front of me. We don't need to go back to the time of Da Vinci. We could be here right now. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate your journey. I think that while you're so gracious with edifying others, we also need to take some time, and the folks watching need to take some time to really appreciate that we have a historical example right here with Barry Shore, someone that, you know, regardless of what life throws at him, never is a victim, never is entitled, has a positive attitude. You know, since we have the theme of books, I'll just keep it going. Viktor Frankl, of course, experienced some of the worst things that a human being could even possibly imagine. I cannot even, I consider myself a creative person. I can't imagine what he went through. As hard as I try, my brain just can't go there. Mm-hmm. And yet, despite that, he still had empathy. He still had gratitude. He had gratitude for his free will to choose. He was grateful that he could choose how to experience what he's experiencing. And so, you know, it's just very profound when we look at these historical examples. And sadly, more people know about Kim Kardashian than they do Viktor Frankl, which is just a testament to the time that we live in. But I appreciate you, Barry, and I know we're running short here on time.
I'm going to unpack a little bit on your PPG, because it is the animating force that can enable people to move, shift. You see, practical power of gratitude can cause shift to happen. Now, unfortunately, when people use the word shift, for some reason, Mo, I don't know why, they drop the F from shift happens and the other stuff comes out. But it's really shift happens, and it's a very small shift. That's all you need. That one small shift and understanding the practical power of gratitude. And then when it's done from the inside out, not as a manipulative process, but as a fountain coming from you, then everything around you shifts. Everything that you see, that you experience, will become faster, better, and more productive. And who doesn't want that? That's happier, healthier, and wealthier. And then again, this is the essence of why I have been so blessed to have Mo say yes to come on the show and be with us. And there's a line that he and I both share that we really don't just think about, but we act upon. If it's to be, it's up to me. Well, yes. You hear that? This, again, part of what's happening right now is that we have a worldwide audience, but it's worldwide in the sense that it's one person at a time. As you know, Mo, we're going to have to close up because of time. But there's a phrase that I've been using of late that really gets people to sit up and take notice. And that is, learn to love dog poop. Did Barry say dog poop? Yes, Barry Shore said dog poop. Learn to love it, because dog poop stands for doing of good. That's what Mo just talked about. The power of one person. Mo makes a difference in the world. He's a madman. He's making a difference. That's what he loves. So I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions, and then we're going to bring this particular episodic episode to its place. And the first question is, Mo, will you come back again?
Yes, sir. Whenever I have the opportunity to, I would love to come back, Barry.
Thank you. Number 2, you have 80 seconds only to answer this. What is your most fervent desire?
I'll tell you off the air. I can't talk about that publicly. No. You know, Barry, my desire is that I continue to have relationships in my life like the one that you and I have. I continue to have friends in my life that I admire, that I respect, and and people that where our respect is mutual. To me, for me, being respected by Barry Shore is worth a lot, right? Because I consider Barry Shore to be a thought leader, and you know, if I want to be a peer of Barry Shore, and if Barry Shore sees me as a peer, that does my heart glad. And so to have friends like Barry Shore, to have friends that, you know, I read about, that I look up to, this is something that makes my life, gives a zest to my life, that you know, puts a pep in my step, so to say. And so having good friends, having good people in my life, people that speak the same language that I speak, this does my heart glad.
Thank you. And the third is, may I give you a hug in front of 369,283 people around the world? But let me tell everybody what hug stands for. Heartfelt, unlimited giving, because that's what Mo's all about. Ready? 1, 2, 3. On the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you've tuned in, remember, for one reason only. Very good. Because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. Because when you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And when we use the 3 fundamentals of life, number 1, life. Your life has purpose. Number 2, to go mad means make a difference. Go make a difference. Number 3, to unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms. Then you will, as a result of this, be happier, healthier, and wealthy. Who doesn't want that? WWW. What a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world we want to live in, like Mo taught us. Create the kind of world you want, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Use 4-letter words. But remember, we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. So our 4-letter words are love, life, hope, grow, rock, swim, pray, play, good, and tell the world to F you, capital N, capital N. And remember to use the 2 most powerful words in English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously. You do this, you will be better. Your family will be better. Your friends will be better. The entire world will feel the effects of you using thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. Kind, the essence of Mo Rock. Keep inspiring noble deeds. And when you do that, the world becomes the kind of place where we all want to grow and live and thrive. And our blessing to you from Mo and Barry is go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.